Hey, Antoniette Roze here, your speaker agent in the health and well-being industry. Today, I have Catlin Doemner with me. She is a virtual coaching expert. She's one of my heroes in that space, and she's the founder of ecstaticway.com. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about unchaining from the table. As a practitioner, how to transition from being just a traditional practitioner, having a traditional practice where you're in clinic most of the week, to being able to coach and consult and get those premium clients and actually move your practice into a whole new realm. So welcome, Catlin.
Thank you so much for inviting me to come speak. I'm so excited. You
So
are
tell
one
me
of
a
my
little bit
favorite people, Antoniette.
Thank you very much. I definitely love working with you, and I love your approach. And it's really opened my eyes to some different strategies that I hadn't really taken into consideration. So tell me what your vision is for practitioners. Like, why do you even want them to move away from maybe the in-clinic setting, even if it's just part-time, into more of a consultative role?
Yeah, I really feel like the healthcare industry is under so much attack. It is so difficult for these amazing, especially holistic practitioners, to continue doing their work. But we're talking like general MDs who, between the litigation and the restrictions and what you can and can't do, and the insurance companies, there are so many reasons why it's almost impossible to do your job well. And instead of the way my friend put it, she's like, I'm tired of getting people better. I want them to live well. And so that transition is, how do we free you up? Free you up to have a bigger impact, free you up so that you can make more money, that there doesn't have to be this dollars for hours exchange in the work that you're doing. How do we take your intellectual, like your expertise, and turn this into marketable intellectual property? How do we create products? How do we create packages? How do we create service-based things that you can sell and that you can scale? And I think that's the biggest distinction, is when you are stuck, we said chained to the table, right? You can only scale so big. You only have so much retail space or so many locations. You can only bring on so many staff members, or you can sell to one of the big HMOs and they can take over your practice. But if the work that you love is really working with your clients, it's very difficult for our health professionals to scale effectively. And it's almost impossible for them to get the lifestyle freedom that so many other entrepreneurs love and enjoy. So coaches and consultants like myself, we can do our work from literally anywhere in the world. My husband and my 3 kids and I, we've been doing just that. We've been traveling the world. We started through South America, went to Antarctica, hopped over to Asia, went through Australia. Next year, the plan is India, Africa, and Europe. And I can literally do everything that I do wherever I have an internet connection. And we navigate time zones. So that level of, I get to pick my calendar, I get to choose what hours I work, what days I work, I get to choose where in the world that I'm going to do it from. That's what I think the future of entrepreneurship should be, even for our health practitioners. So yeah, I think it's really important. If you want the freedom to do your work well and get paid well to do it, then we've got to start shifting you into more of a coaching and consultant niche, so that you have access to that freedom.
So good. Yes. And I'm definitely following your journey. It's so inspirational. Your children are adorable. And I just think, wow, what a healthy, amazing, explorative way to live, right? It just really, I can't imagine what that's doing for not just you and your husband, but your children's vision of what life's all about. And yeah. Absolutely. What do you say to the doctor or the practitioner who feels like maybe coaching or consulting is a step backwards? I mean, obviously they have spent years in education, just getting the education and the certifications and the credentials, right? That makes them doctor or practitioner. And then they've spent sometimes decades building up their practices. So what do you say to those people that might look at consulting as a step backwards versus a step forward?
Right. Yeah. I think there's different elements. I think on the impact level, if your goal is to impact more people, it's it's light years accessible. Whereas before you might be limited to how many people are willing to drive within your zip code to your office. Now, if we can move you to an intellectual property based business model, you can serve the entire world. So the number of lives that you're going to change is going to be astronomical. Now, in point of fact, there is a learning curve associated with any new shift in your business model. We're going to have to really clarify your demographic. We're going to have to really get clear on your niche, what makes you unique. If you've relied on geographic location to be your unique differentiator in the marketplace, we're going to have to shift that. We're going to have to figure out how do you compare to all the other online-based practitioners, and really get clear what makes you and your intellectual property unique. So from that perspective, it can feel like you might be losing some momentum. So I would highly recommend that you plan in advance. It might take you 6 to 12 months to get your team running your office without you. Or you may be in the place that you want to just sell it and start over from scratch. And it's going to take you some time to figure out this new lay of the land. It's a completely different business model. And I think that's actually why you brought me in, Antoniette, is so I can talk to what is the journey that I take my clients through. If you guys are interested in building that kind of a business model, I think there's a lot of information that's misleading in the marketplace about how to do this the right way. And it's like, be an Amazon bestseller, and people write a book and expect that that's going to bring them business, or build a marketing funnel and just buy ads on Facebook. And they assume that they're going to sit back and have passive income coming from product sales. And there's a lot of misinformation, and people don't really understand that there's sort of a trajectory. So we talk about the 4 gears of marketing, introduced by Tobin Slavin, my former business partner. And in his book, Experts Never Chase, highly recommend it. But we talk about the gear 1 is conversations. So how do you start conversations with prospective clients and referral partners and invite them to work with you? And when they're working with you at the beginning, it might just be one-on-one. It is a sort of trading time for money sort of scenario. But we have the added benefit that it doesn't have to be location specific. So we're getting that first level of freedom in place. The second gear of marketing is, what is the next one? Content. So how do we start publishing content in a strategic way that gets in front of your ideal demographic? It might be a book, it might be blogging, it might be Facebook, it might be LinkedIn. There's so many different distribution channels. So we really want to make sure that you are reaching your demographic in the right way. The next level that you would create for your packages would be a group experience. How, instead of working one-on-one with people, how can we create a group experience where people can come and work with you in a group setting? So now we can do more people in the same amount of time. So we're increasing the profitability of our ratio. The third gear of Third gear of marketing is collaboration. So this is where we start finding where are the strategic hubs of influence? Who else is serving your client demographic? And this is where Antoniette comes in, because now we can start putting you on stages. We can start sharing your ideas in a bigger way and getting you in front of other people's audiences and tribes, and really sharing this in a much bigger venue through things like joint ventures or speaking engagements. The corresponding third level of your product build out will be a smaller experience or a do-it-yourself option. So if you're speaking on that stage, you probably don't want to sell your $10,000 to $100,000 package. You probably want to sell $1,000 something. So do you have a way that you can create a course based on the group that you do in your group setting, put it into your group format? And then the fourth gear of marketing is clicks. So this is where a lot of people want to start. They just want to throw money into the Facebook funnel and get magical leads and sales out of it. But you should estimate that you're going to spend probably at least $20,000 to build your funnel, throw some ad spend at it just to find out if the funnel works. And it's expensive market research is what it is. So before you get to that stage, you want to have really clear positioning, really clear packages, really clear pricing models so that you know that if you spend $1 on Facebook, you're going to get $3 out of it. And that's the level where we, at that fourth level, we start creating free or very low priced intellectual property based on everything that you created. We now turn it into a book and use the book as an opt-in funnel. Now we can create those blog posts and the free opt-in pages, whatever it is that you can give away at a free level, that consolidates as concisely as possible. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Concise consolidation of your work so that you can easily broadcast that in a really big and effective way. And the right people are making the right clicks and taking the right journey into your higher level programs. But we want to start in that order from low volume, high ticket, and then move our way down to low ticket, high volume. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense to me, and I love it. And one of the things that I love about your approach, whereas that might have sounded like a lot of work, especially to an already overworked doctor or practitioner, I love your approach because you are really the master of having other people do most of the work, right? You show up when you need to show up as the expert, but really you've got a great system that's pretty simplistic in that it's not overly complex, but highly effective in having others come alongside, and they can be helping with all of the logistical things that sound like, wow, that's more work than I'm doing in a day in my clinic. Whereas really they get to just show up as the expert, stay relevant, which I think is a really important thing for us to touch on before we start closing. And I want to make sure that there's time to let our listeners know how they can reach out to you for a next level experience with you. And really what I love for my audience to do that for is so that they can actually understand that as big as the next level might seem, as many hours as it might feel like it's going to take to get their career to that next level of revenue and revenue streams through speaking consulting, but also that broader impact that you were talking about, instead of just that regional or one-to-one impact, which is also very important. But they get, a lot of times these doctors and practitioners, they've paid their dues. They've done that for years, sometimes decades, and now it's time for them to step into more time and money freedom, right? And also a greater, broader impact. And there's very specific ways to do that. Of course, in my book, speaking is at the top of the list of your journey there. But there's supporting things that have to happen, right? The posting and the content production and those kinds of things. And I would just love to hear you speak to how that can be done in a very effective way without, you don't have to become the Facebook expert, Facebook ad expert. You don't have to become the content generation expert. The IP comes from you, right? And you are, you stay in your lane. So just talk to that a little bit.
Yeah. So the way I think about it is you can either take the fast route or the cheap route. The cheap route is going to take you a lot longer because you are going to have to bang your head against a lot of walls. It's taking me 12 years of building sales funnels and teams for coaches and consultants to figure out what works and what doesn't work. So good luck, right? I was doing that for 12 years full time. And now I think, now I think I know enough that I could probably teach this. So the cheap way is just going to take you a lot of hours. The fast way is to hire people who can support you at the highest possible level. So working with me in one of my business programs or one-on-one where I can just do your positioning for you in a weekend, hiring Antoniette and her team so that you don't have to go finding the right people and figuring out how to create your pitch and doing all of that arduous labor. You can work with an expert. And so it really depends on how much you want to own this process. But in my experience, the fastest path to profits really is to hire people who are experts at what they do and just let them use their superpower for you.
Yeah, you're really cutting a check for speed, right? And in doing that, all of those years of opportunity lost actually pay much bigger dividends than trying to become kind of a DIYer in areas that just are not, it's not your space, and it shouldn't be. You really need to just stay in your space of excellence. And that's where you're going to make the greatest impact, the greatest income, have the greatest time and money freedom. So I
Yeah. And
absolutely,
I think you're spot on, Antoniette, is most people like, oh, I don't want to spend the money up front. I'm like, well, then you're going to spend the money later because you're going to do it wrong the first time. And to your point, opportunity cost is the most expensive thing you could ever have as an entrepreneur. My most expensive lessons were my like done for you, do it myself mistakes, right? The fastest path, which means the most long dollars in my lifetime, is hiring experts and working with the best in the industry.
absolutely. And you touched on it a moment ago. If you're going to stay relevant in the health and wellness space, and even in the optimal performance space, a level of consulting, especially in the virtual and digital world, is essential, because your competitors are doing it, right? Or they're figuring out how to do it. Get in front of them. Don't circle the mountain. Get in front of them, so that you are the one who is thought of first for your expertise, for your specialty, whether it's diabetes or ADHD, whatever it is. Your name should be synonymous of the person to go to for that solution. And really, the only way you're going to be able to do that is to be seen and heard on a broader scale. So I so love the tips and strategies and kind of micro wins that you've given each of us today, Catlin. Thank you for spending the time.
My pleasure. And if you guys want to go deeper, check out ecstaticway.com. Send me an email at caitlin@ecstaticway.com. I think it's actually ecstaticway/sell with heart. If you'd like to download a free copy of my book, it's $20 on Amazon. Happy for you to support me there. But if you want a free version, you can go to ecstaticway.com/sell with heart. And maybe / one of the slashes, the slash we always use.
I think it's / but I'm going there. I didn't even know that was there. So that's special for you guys listening to us today. You get her free book, and it's a very good, I've gotten glimpses of it. So it's a very good book. And you have a challenge coming up. And if somebody hears this later, hopefully you'll have, I think you mentioned you have 2 to 3 challenges on the horizon. Each one is so unique, and you don't want to miss one of them. But tell us a little bit about how to get into your challenge.
Yes. So we have our 10K in 30-day challenge. I don't actually know if we have a URL specifically for it that I can quote you off the top of my head. But if you reach out to us, we'll make sure you get the information. This is fantastic for new coaches, new consultants, healers who are either going in a different direction or are just building their practice from the get-go. But our guarantee is that you're going to make $10,000 in new client contracts within the 30-day window. We have a prep week and then 4 weeks of just doing the work together. We hold your hand. There's daily coaching, daily accountability. For this one, we're keeping it pretty low. It's $1,100 to join this time. We'll probably be raising that in the future. So if you're listening to this later, my apologies. It's sort of what I do. Sell it thrice and raise the price is what I tell my clients. And so for this one, we're going to be working with you. If for any reason you don't do the revenue secured within that 30-day window, you can absolutely come to the next challenge for free. So about every 3 or 4 months, we'll be doing another one of these challenges. So you can join us in March, in August, in January, whenever it makes sense for your schedule. But really what we're trying to do is give you one simple strategy, the mindset tools that you need to overcome your resistance, and then just the daily coaching and accountability to turn this into a habit, a practice of building your business in a way that feels easy, fun, and soul-fulfilling.
Well, I know firsthand that you're excellent and so generous at what you offer. And your approach is very innovative. Marketing and sales have never been something that has excited me at all. I just love delivering, but I don't love this process. I haven't in the past loved the process of marketing and sales. And your approach, your heart, your spirit, we haven't even gone in to your credentials, which are amazing. To me, it's second to none. And so listeners, if you have an opportunity to join in on one of her challenges, one of her courses. First of all, this challenge is a bargain. Jump in, you'll go far fast. And then it's all the supporting stuff that you need, whether you're going to become a higher level speaker or launch a book or launch a group program, whatever it is. This is all the supporting foundational stuff that you need to get right from Catlin. So thank you for spending the time with us today, Catlin. Any parting words, and then we'll say goodbye.
I think the biggest thing is, like you said, I want to encourage you guys that sales is an act of love and service, and marketing is our divine beacon of hope to the world. So the sales and marketing that you're doing, this is how you create transformation. You have to get people enrolled in the solution before you can change and transform their lives. So fall in love with the process, fall in love with your people. And if you do this, you love the process and you love your people, you'll create a business that you love. And then eventually that will result in a world that you love.
Just that energy shift that you've brought to me has made all the difference. That I'm not trying to sell somebody. I'm trying to show them the solutions that they're actually looking for. And that by selling, I'm serving. If I withhold that solution from them, just like if I'm, got a cut, I know I'm going to pay the doctor to help me stitch up that cut, right? I'm not going to sit there, at least me, I'm not going to try to sit there and stitch it up myself. I understand that he has the solution for my cut, and I understand that I'm going to pay him for it, right? And so that was a really big transition for me in the area of sales. It's not that, it's more of an act of service than it is like me wanting to gain something, because really I don't want clients that aren't the right fit. So if they're not the right fit and I don't get the sale, I'm actually happy about that. If they are the right fit, that means the solution that I bring is going to be transformative for them. And so that makes me happy too. So that was probably one of the many gems that I gleaned from our work together, is that it went from a dirty task to actually a beautiful golden gem, right? That I am handing somebody when I make them the offer to work with me on a deeper level.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Well, thank you, Catlin. So everybody go get her book, ecstaticway.com. I think it's a /. If that doesn't work, do it // sell with heart. Go get it. And then also to reach you, I think it's just ecstaticway.com, right?
Yep. CAITLIN at ecstaticway.com.
I did have to practice that word a few times. Ecstatic. There's a C in there.
There is a C, there is not an X. It's a weird one.
All right. So great to have this time with you. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks, Antoniette.
Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao.